That's the whole unit there, or the graphite shaft extractor. And it takes about a minute to heat it, and you see that it pulls away. You want to pull it straight off, especially if you're saving the shaft. There's the 52 degree. It's extracted. There's the shaft and the extractor after the head's off. There's the DeWalt drill with the scouring abrasive piece on the outside to clean the hosel out. That goes down in the hosel. You just run it, get all the old glue out of there. I can't run it because I'm videotaping with my other hand, but it just goes down inside the hosel, clean it all out. There's the two new shafts that'll go in the 52 and in the 56. Here's the 56. I've got the hosel pulled away from it, so all I have to do is now put it into the extractor. I can reuse both of the ferrules like brand new, just fix them up. I have to tip trim these basically 1 inch and then trim to length for the new recoil Mamma Mia shafts for the wedges. And there's the shaft on the outside of the extractor. I basically just use this paper to protect the shaft when you tighten it down, so you don't put any scratches or blemishes on the shaft. So you'll see what I do is I just move the ferrule back enough so that I can put the shaft into place, so I can basically pull it. The torque wrench will pull it straight off. I'm going to go ahead and tape this back up, so I'll put this tape on there like this and wrap it back around to protect that shaft on the 56 degree. So I just have that resting in there. I got to take, this is the piece that basically holds the shaft in place, and what you have to do is tighten these bolts equally. You can't tighten one side harder than the other side. So what I always do is finger tighten first, because you're not going to put that much pressure on it. And again, that way you can conserve or save the old shafts, reuse them later if you need to, or always install them back in if you want to. Okay, so see, those are finger snug. Now I can tighten those down evenly. So I usually do just a small little turn on each side evenly like that until it's tight. So now that Callaway 56 degree secured in place, you can see what I use here. I'm not afraid to hide any of the Golfworks products. I basically use most of the stuff from them, and this goes in and out of my vise as well. Holds the tape, holds the club so I can do re-gripping, has an alignment piece at the end. Everything from Golfworks is great. Alright, all we have to do now is go back over here and get the heat gun. We can start to apply the heat. Okay, I've applied the right amount of heat. You can see you put the wrench in here and you're ready to, there we go, perfect. It was an easy release, no problem at all whatsoever on that. And we're just going to slip the head back off again. And there you go. I just pulled two Callaway wedges, a 52 and a 56, off of the old shafts. We have to prep the new shafts. We have to save the ferrule so we can reinstall those when we glue everything back together. All I have to do now is clean out the 56 the same way I cleaned out the 52. What you do after you just release the tension off of those two bolts right there, those hex bolts. Just release the tension in those. What I'll do is I'll mark everything too, so I can measure length and everything for further installation from the old shafts. After I'm done with the shaft extractor, I'll put my gripper back in place because I'm going to need that before too long. So there you go, that's back in place. I continue on with the work. This is the drip pan. So the pan goes back in place. I just keep a couple towels over it so I have some towels readily available to wipe off epoxy or anything else. I'm going to share one thing that I did do in my workshop that I felt was sort of beneficial to everything I do. Instead of having shafts fall over all the time, I just took my old workbenches, drilled some holes in them, and then that way I can go ahead and hold everything right there without things falling over. It just makes it a lot easier for me. Now before we get to reshafting, we're going to do something here pretty cool. What we're going to do is we're going to pull out the magnetic vise right here, and then we can take the 52 degree and we can put it on there. You'll see that when I have that vise turned on, you'll see I can lift it right off of there real easy. And when I turn that thing on, that thing won't move. And why do you think that is? Well, that's because I'm going to go ahead and stamp it now. And the stamping is the fun part. Pulling shafts and working on clubs is always a lot of fun, but this is kind of the fun part, being creative here and getting some detailed information onto the outside portion of the wedges.